Now, football's world governing body FIFA is actually struggling to find sponsors for next year's World Cup in Russia. That's partly because of Russia's isolation by the West after its annexation of Crimea. And FIFA itself has been in the headlines, of course, for all the wrong reasons after its senior officials were caught up in a corruption scandal. Well, so far, just 10 companies have signed up as sponsors, but that's only half as many compared to the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. Sponsorship and broadcasting deals normally cover the $2 billion operational cost for running the event, but it's the host nation's responsibilities to finance the infrastructure costs, such as stadia, which are covered by local sponsors. And that's the real problem here. So far, only one Russian company, Alpha Bank, has stepped forward to sponsor the event. Well, I'm joined now from Manchester by Kieran Maguire, a football finance specialist at the University of Liverpool. Kevin, thank you very much for joining us. And I just wanted to ask you, what do you make of the lack of local support for the World Cup? That seems a little strange.
I think the problem that has occurred in Russia is that there has been a recession there, and in addition, the Sochi Winter Olympics were tainted by corruption claims. So local companies will only invest as far as a competition such as the World Cup is concerned if they believe that they're going to get value for money. And it looks at present as if FIFA are trying to charge too much money, and therefore the local firms simply just don't feel they're getting value.
Do you suspect that Putin might step in and do a little arm twisting here?
Well, that certainly seemed to be the case when it came to the Sochi Winter Olympics. So I think there could be a little bit of brinkmanship here. If the order comes from the Kremlin that you must support this particular competition, then firms will ultimately they'll ensure that they'll stump up because they'll be wanting to win local contracts which are coming from central government. But until then, I think there's going to be a standoff between FIFA and the amounts that they're charging to be sponsors of the competition and the local companies themselves.
Is it clear at this point which big international sponsors, who traditionally come in for the World Cup, are being a little cautious?
Well, Sony and the Emirates Airlines have both cancelled their sponsorships. They did end in 2014. I think most people were expecting them to renew. But I think the problem that exists at present is that the FIFA brand is so toxic as a result of all the corruption claims and the ongoing criminal investigations that nobody wants to be associated with an organisation who is tainted to this degree.
But it will still have massive viewers, won't it? And at the end of the day, perhaps as we get closer to the event, the sponsors will start to come back. What do you think?
I think that's potentially the case. Ultimately, the FIFA World Cup does deliver in terms of TV audiences, and the TV monies were negotiated well in advance, so those monies are well ring-fenced. The sponsors will come back if they believe they're going to get a decent return. Now, if they fear that they could suffer reputational damage themselves by being associated A, with FIFA and B, with Russia, then I think they'll go ahead. But that doesn't seem to be the case at present. I think FIFA is going to have to reduce the prices and also to expand the nature of the brands that they're trying to be associated with.
Let me just ask you one final question from Russia's point of view. Do you think it will help the economy there? Or do you think that fans are going to be rather sceptical about going to a country like Russia, where we have seen some rather sophisticated hooliganism over the years?
I think there's certainly a problem. If you look to see what happened with Euro 26, the behaviour of the Russian fans seemed to be extremely well organised and very intimidating as well. If you talk to fans who have been to Russia to attend Champions League matches, they're not reflecting positive experiences. So I think Russia's got to win the PR war here to persuade fans to come across. It's going to be very expensive. Russia's hotels are not cheap. The distances travelled by fans are going to be significant as well. It's not as if you're going to be getting fans coming from other countries within Europe, given the current standoff in political relations. So there's a lot of negatives that currently exist, and I think the Russian government's going to struggle.
It doesn't pay to be isolated. Kieran Maguire, thank you very much for your analysis. Appreciate it.